Former President George H.W. Bush is hospitalized with an infection. Spokesman Jim McGrath. The Rockets, up 3-1, play the Timberwolves in Game 5 tonight. After the Warriors' Game 5 win over the Spurs, Draymond Green was asked about video of a jacket incident. Green: obviously it is unfortunate. I think, you know, what it boils down to, it's a jacket, but I think it's more so the principle. You're in your own space and you want to return your jacket, and all of us do, and so I think it's more so the principle than the actual thing. Like, you know, if I got $1 sitting here, it's $1, but it's my dollar. I wouldn't expect nobody to take it. That's an unfortunate situation. We got a great front office and great media PR staff that will figure it all out. Green was talking about a video of KGO TV sports anchor Mike Schumann. Monty Poole of NBC Sports Bay Area. Schumann, the former 49ers receiver who has been with KGO since 1994, was in San Antonio last week to provide coverage of the Warriors-Spurs playoff series. He was captured on video after practice last Thursday bending over, picking up a jacket, folding it and walking out of it. The jacket, it was later confirmed, belonged to Warriors security manager Ralph Walker, who had not given Schumann permission to take it. Approached about the incident, Schumann returned the jacket, apologized and also tried to explain his actions, essentially saying he wasn't thinking clearly. Insofar as Schumann is a Disney Company employee, Disney owns ABC and ESPN, the matter put the Warriors organization in a compromised position. Disney's contract with the NBA gives ABC affiliates exclusive access on specific telecasts, something the Warriors take seriously. In their attempt to control the damage and preserve status quo with Schumann, they wanted to consider the matter a benign misunderstanding. The players were not in such a forgiving mood. They urged that action be taken, partly out of loyalty to Walker but largely because of their belief the incident would not have been taken so lightly likely if the jacket had been removed by a person of color. They smelled a double standard. I've been professionally acquainted with Mike for years and had never formed an opinion of his character. I heard what had happened, followed up with a few people and became aware of how the team felt. I saw the video and considered it bizarre behavior on his part. Maybe that's all it is. Or maybe there is some medical or psychological explanation. Some Warriors were merely bothered by the entire episode, others were outraged, mostly about the attempt to bury it. My inclination in most circumstances is to give people the benefit of the doubt absent other information. Maybe this was an innocent mistake, a joke gone awry, or, as Poole wondered, a medical or psychological episode. But I also recognize that white people are more likely to receive that benefit of the doubt. The solution isn't to throw Schumann under the bus without a better understanding of what happened. It's to extend everyone that courtesy. Fairness doesn't require extending vindictiveness. This is only complicated by the NBA's relationship with Schumann's company. When justice and business interests align, it's easier. When they diverge, it gets harder. The Warriors have developed a cohesiveness throughout their organization, also easier done while winning. They must manage this incident to avoid undermining those bonds. The Spurs can offer Kawhi Leonard a supermax contract extension, which projects to be worth $219 million over 5 years, this offseason. Will they? Adrian Wojnarowski on ESPN. The relationship between Kawhi Leonard is broken, and it's got to be put back together again before the Spurs are going to make that kind of commitment to a player. And that's going to take a lot of talking, communication and some compromise here in the next few months before the Spurs can make that offer. But the idea that an organization like the Spurs are going to just blindly walk in and give the biggest contract in franchise history to a player who has behaved the last few months like he doesn't want to be a part of them, it's not going to happen that way. So, there's a lot of repairing that's going to be done before they even make that offer, I believe. Leonard will reportedly meet with San Antonio for an exit interview, and that's the next big step toward mending fences. Remember, LaMarcus Aldridge requested a trade last summer. Then, he and Greg Popovich talked and got on the same page. Aldridge just had an excellent season for the Spurs. Handling unhappy players is part of the job. When they're as good as Aldridge and Leonard, it's worth making the effort to find common ground. San Antonio finds enough with Leonard to offer him the Supermax extension. The next question becomes, will he sign it? He might prefer to move on. But nobody is that far. The big benchmark in this process is the Spurs offering or not offering the Supermax extension. They must determine whether or not they will. Is there much demand for Hassan Whiteside around the NBA marketplace? The pro-Whiteside camp can point to some raw numbers. He averaged 14 points and 11.4 rebounds a game this season, and 17 and 14 a season ago. He shot 54% from the floor, and had a PER of 24.1. However, his shortcomings were on full display in the playoffs. In the first two games, when Philadelphia played small, Whiteside didn't have a place on the court and saw limited minutes. When Joel Embiid returned, things got worse. In the 3 games matched up against Embiid, when Whiteside was on the court, the Heat were outscored by 11.9 points for 100 possessions. Whiteside played just 10 minutes in Game 5, where he was 0 of 4 from the field, picked up 3 fouls, and was minus 14. All through the series, Whiteside complained about his lack of minutes. Whiteside and Eric Spoelstra are not on the same page, and the Heat would like to move him in a trade, but good luck with that. From Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. The Heat is expected to explore a Whiteside trade, with the center due $24.4 million and $27.1 million in the final 2 years of his contract. In a tight financial market, the Heat are going to struggle to find a team with the space, or willing to create the space, to take on $51.5 million over 2 seasons. Even if they do, the Heat are going to have to attach sweeteners, multiple first-round picks, or a pick and young players that interest teams, Kelly Olynyk or Bam Adebayo, for example. It's going to be a lot to give up to get out of that contract. Maybe in the summer of 2019, when the market loosens up and Whiteside is an expiring contract, they more easily can find a deal. This summer it would be difficult. But expect the Heat and Whiteside's agent to look for a trade. It's time to part ways. It just may not be that simple to do. It was embarrassing, and left both fans and players of the Trailblazers angry and frustrated. Portland was unceremoniously swept out of the playoffs by the New Orleans Pelicans. Now what happens in Portland? Is Terry Stotts in danger as the coach? What about GM Neil Olshey? Would they consider trading CJ McCollum? Is there any way to offload the contract of Evan Turner? Kurt Halen and the Northeast-owned Dane Carba of NBC Sports break it all down in this latest podcast, and Blazers fans may not like the answers. The pair also touch on other series around the league, like do the Pelicans have a shot against the Warriors? And, as required by NBA law, they touch on the Sixers' run. As always, you can check out the podcast below. Listen and subscribe via iTunes at applepodcasts.com/pbdonebc. Subscribe via the fantastic Stitcher app. Check us out on Google Play, or check out the NBC Sports Podcast homepage and archive at Art19.